What is the best way to get rich in Minecraft? In Java Edition, speedrunning is the meta since you can get endgame gear as soon as the first day. But speedrunning is a lot harder in Bedrock Edition because the game doesn't have oxygen doors for ocean strats, pie charts to navigate the nether, and fast regen for emergency scenarios. And while you still can speedrun the game at a reasonable speed, I'd imagine most of the people, including myself, would be unable to do it consistently. Which is why the focus of this guide is on steady and progressive development using some features exclusive in Bedrock Edition to our advantage. Now disclaimer, even though I've developed this strategy through a lot of research and attempts, most of them died to bad spawns or RNG since I wanted to play as fast as possible. So if you guys think there is room for improvement, please let me know in the comment section or try it for yourself. And speaking of bad spawns, the first step of this plan is to spawn near a biome with spruce trees. You see, spruce trees have a feature that allows them to grow into a massive one if its saplings are placed in a 2x2 area, and these trees can give you at least a stack of logs, which are useful for trading and building some farms later on. Just so you know, this first step is entirely optional. You can choose to spawn in any biome and use any wood type you want, but if you're looking for efficiency, spruce wood is the way to go. Once you get your ideal spawn, we need to do some basic tasks like getting a good amount of wood, some saplings, some basic stone tools, and enough food to last us a while. Because the next thing on our shopping list would be in the mines. Now since I'm assuming we're playing in hardcore mode, we do have a few standard things to get like iron armor, iron tools, torches, a water bucket, and many more. But the things we really want are a lot of extra iron, a bit of redstone, as much lapis as you can carry, a lot of coal, at least 5 diamonds, a lava bucket, and 14 obsidian. Now I know it sounds like I just named all the ores in Minecraft besides gold, copper, and emeralds, but trust me, these are all necessary because this list actually reveals the core item in this strategy, but more on that later. Once you've finished your mining trip, the next step is to find a village. I recommend the Plains village since they tend to spawn with hay bales and are in a biome with passive mob spawns you'll need later on. So once you have found your village, you'd want to destroy all the beds and job blocks in the area, then relocate only the beds in a flat area preferably. This will force the villagers to route themselves to the new area once night falls. Do note that villagers are a bit glitchy in Bedrock Edition, so if they don't connect to a bed, you might want to try lowering your render distance or waiting for some time. You also might want to use the coal you gathered earlier to light up the area, which increases the villagers' survival odds. Once the villagers have been gathered, the next step is to make an iron farm. For new players to Bedrock Edition, iron farms are a lot more complicated to build here than in Java Edition. ENX so far's small and compact design doesn't work here since iron farms need at least 20 villagers, beds, and job blocks to work. And even then, there are a bunch of things that could break it. Now, given how complicated it is, I know it sounds weird to build an iron farm this early on, but please just trust the process since this is important. For this next step, it could get a bit confusing, so please make sure to finish this section before you try it for yourself. Because right now, I'm not going to explain to you how to build an iron farm, because I can't, but all of the tasks you'll have to do while building it. So first of all, you'd want to use the saplings you have to get lots of wood. Like I mentioned earlier, you're going to use the wood to build and trade for emeralds, so you'll mainly be using your gathered iron to make extra tools for cutting down trees. The second task is to build the iron farm's infrastructure using the wood you just gathered. The tutorial you use doesn't really matter, but I really like Prowl's video on this since he goes pretty in depth into the farm's mechanics and adds a trading area to it. Some of the iron you have will be used here to make hoppers for the collection system. The third basic task you'll have to do is shearing sheep. The number of beds dictates the number of villagers you can have, so you'll need a lot of beds for the iron farm to work, and sometimes the village you conquered may not have enough depending on how many villagers you want. So I suggest having a sheep pen near your area that you can frequently visit for wool. Next is breeding, because even if you have enough beds, the villagers still need to produce more of them to reach the desired amount. This is where you use the hay bales to craft bread for the villagers to feast upon. However, if there is not enough bread to go around, you can use the last task for this, trading. Here, you're going to use the spare wood from task 1 to craft sticks and trade with Fletcher villagers. The emeralds you get here can be used to trade with farmer villagers for bread, but the main purchase you should be making is with librarians. And contrary to my previous videos, you don't want a fortune book, but instead, 15 bookshelves. And if you want to go extra fast, you can even unalive the surrounding cows and grow some sugarcane nearby to make bookshelves even faster. You can only move on to the next step once your iron farm is complete and you have 15 bookshelves. Now I know it sounds very time consuming, but honestly isn't even that hard. Trading with villagers and waiting for them to grow takes up some time, so while waiting you can do other tasks for max efficiency. So once you have your 15 bookshelves and functioning iron farm, let's talk about the core item I mentioned earlier, which I think was pretty obvious, an enchanting table. By now, thanks to all the trading you've done, you should probably have around 30 levels of experience, and you're going to use those levels to enchant your pickaxe with at least efficiency 3. We don't care about fortune, unbreaking, or silk touch, just efficiency. Because what you need to do next is to mine 84 obsidian, which will be used to make a gold farm. And for your information, gold farms are extremely broken in Bedrock Edition. You see, every time you light a portal, zombie pigmen have a chance to spawn, and that chance scales with the size of the portal, virtually creating a zombie pigman spawner. And it isn't even that complicated to build. All you need is the biggest nether portal possible, a water dispenser that breaks the portal, and a fire spread machine that constantly relights it. Do note that your water dispenser and fire machine need to be in the opposite side of where the pigments can spawn, and you can check this by relighting your portal until one pigman spawns. Also, fire spread machines are a bit weird in Bedrock Edition. For some reason, if you put lava on top of observers activating each other, they somehow increase the speed of the fire. Not to mention that these trapdoors made out of wood cannot be burnt down no matter what you do, but are somehow able to create fire pretty fast even though they're technically not combustible. And realistically speaking, none of this makes sense. But regardless, if you add a water stream to redirect the zombie pigmen into a pit, you can farm them in safety even without a trident killer. And the amount of XP you get is ridiculous. You can get fully enchanted armor and tools in one sitting, not to mention that you can make golden apples with the gold you get, making you even more overpowered. But what about armor and tools? Well, you can use the iron from an iron farm to trade with villagers for them, or you can enchant your pickaxe with fortune to make strip mining even easier, and later on, even the rotten flesh can be traded for emeralds with clerics. This gold farm is pretty much an Enderman farm that has better drops and can be built anywhere in the overworld. The only problems with it would be the ridiculous amount of lapis needed to constantly reroll for enchants, the patience to keep rerolling, and the manual aspect of having to remove the swords and kill the mobs. But if you're patient enough, this farm will skyrocket you to the endgame with little to no risk. And before people say it, I know that the new Potion of Infestation XP farms are a lot cheaper and easier to make, but you need to go to the nether to make said potions, and unless you're okay with risking your hardcore world, I don't think it's worth the risk. Not to mention that with golden apples, traversing the nether becomes a lot easier. Now, I could continue this tutorial by telling you how to beat the Ender Dragon, get netherite armor, and many more, but realistically, a lot of these become trivially easy once you have maxed out diamond gear. So I'm gonna save those ideas for the future. That's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. I recycled pretty much 50 plus hours worth of footage for this, so I would greatly appreciate all the support I could get. If you have any questions, I'm more than willing to answer them in the comment section. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!